Assalamualaikum and hello student. So I hope you guys are doing well. So today we are going to give a safety talk about the effect of refrigerant selection on human safety and health. Before we go further, my name is Fatim Fadila and this all is my member. Okay, let's start our presentation. Okay, student, what is refrigerant? As information, refrigerant is a compound typically found in either a fluid or gaseous state. It can classify in two types. For the first one is primary refrigerant, and this is a fluid used directly as working fluids such as vapor compression and vapor absorption refrigeration system. And this kind of fluid provide refrigeration by undergoing a phase change process in the evaporator. And for the second one is secondary refrigerants. These are liquids which are used for transporting thermal energy from one location to other. Alright, next slide. Okay, I will explain about refrigerant types. And there are four types of refrigerant. For the first one is chlorofluorocarbon. One of the example is R12, or can call it by freon, and this also known as greenhouse gas effect. For the second one is hydrochlorofluorocarbon, and one of the example is R22, and this kind of refrigerant also cause greenhouse gas, and it can deplete the ozone slowly but continuously. And the third one is hydrofluorocarbon. The example is R134A, and this kind of refrigerant were used in 1995 and later used year. And this group refrigerant always in demand by refrigerant manufacturer because its environmental suitability, and it has a lower potential for global warming. For the last one is natural refrigerants. The example are air, hydrocarbon, ammonia, carbon dioxide, water, and anything else. And this kind of refrigerant not created by any man like the other one. And this kind of refrigerant not harm the natural environment or ozone layer, and not zero ozone depletion potential and negligible effect on global warming. So the next slide I will pass to my friend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So next, I will be talk about the environmental impacts of refrigerant. So the first one is ozone depletion. The CFC has a long life cycle which allow them to accumulate in the atmosphere. By interacting with sunlight, the molecule divide and release chlorine into the air. The chlorine in the atmosphere actively destroy the oxygen, and that interaction destroy the ozone layer. So the second one is the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and emission from some refrigerant are contributor to global warming. By absorbing infrared radiation and holding it in the atmosphere, the greenhouse effect is the warming of climate that results when the atmosphere traps heat radiating from Earth toward the space. So next. So next, I will be talk about the environmental properties of refrigerant. There are three. They are divided into three. So the first one is ozone depletion potential, or known as ODP. The ODP, according to the Montreal Protocol, the ODP refrigerant should be zero. There should be a non-ozone depleting substance. Refrigerant that having a non-zero ODP have either already been phased out or will be phased out in the future. So the second one is a global warming potential, or known as JWP. The refrigerant should have as low a GWP value as possible to minimize the problem of global warming. Refrigerant with zero ODP but a high value of GWP are likely to be regulated in future. So the last one is TEWI or Total Equivalent Warming Index. The factor of TEWI consider both direct and indirect contribution of refrigerants to global warming. Naturally, refrigerant with a low value of TEWI are preferable from global warming point of view. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to my friends. So I will continue to present the points. Okay, this is the harmful effects of refrigerant. So this is the warning signs that we need to mention, we need to aware. And these signs always appears in factories or industry, especially in chemical industry. And also we can see this on public place because chemical things, chemical is a common thing in our life, and it will give a bad effect, a negative effect in our environment, our body, and our safety and health. So it is important to have these warning signs to make sure everybody aware of the negative effects. Okay, next. Okay. Uh, all of the refrigerants can be managed in order to reduce any negative effects on the environment and our health and safety. So these the common five main ways that can be used. So firstly is by lowering the demand or use of appliance and thereby the production of refrigerants. Okay, then replacing refrigerants with low warming hydrofluorocarbons or new cooling agents or non-hydrofluorocarbons substances. Okay, then increasing the refrigeration efficiency in appliance, thereby lowering the use of refrigerants. Okay, by controlling leakage of refrigerants from existing appliance by good management practice, it also will help to reduce the negative effects. And lastly, by ensuring the recovery, reclaiming or recycling and the destruction of refrigerants at the end of life. So based on these points, it's important to make sure our environment in a good and safe condition so that it will live in a healthy manner. So that's from me. Thank you.
Okay, next. Okay, now I want to talk about the impact of refrigeration towards the human body health. The first one, what are the symptoms of refrigerator pointing? There are many stats which include the irritation of eyes, ears, and throat, headache, noses, vomiting, and extra. The second one, we talk about the symptom of several poisoning include there are also several stats which is fluid buildup of breathing in the lungs, burning sensation in the esophagus, vomiting of blood, and etc. These two effects can lead to a dangerous life. But the third step is how we can avoid to the treatment of the health progress, which is quickly move the person to a fresh air to avoid further complication from prolonged exposure. Next. Okay, this is about the minimizing impact of refrigeration, which we have talked about the reduced direct impact. The first one, use the refrigerator gas with a lower environmental impact. Example, use a refrigerator gas with zero ozone depletion potential and lower warming potential. The second one is reduce the direct emission, which is minimize power consumption of your refrigerants of air. For example, system ensure that regular maintaining system using correct refrigerant gas. Installing new system may cause significant energy saving via modern. These steps can reduce the effect of the burning system in our body. Thank you. Next.
Okay, so previously we have discussed about the refrigerant, what is the meaning of refrigerant, the refrigerant type, the impact to environment, to human's body. So now I will talk about the regulation of refrigerant and governmental. So the first regulation is Montreal Protocol 1987, which is stated that global agreement to protect stratospheric ozone layer by phasing out the production and consumption of ozone depleting substances. Next, developed countries are required to begin phase out chlorofluorocarbons in 1993 and achieve 20% of reduction relative to 1986 consumption level by 1994 and 50% reduction by 1990. After the Montreal Protocol was signed, the ozone hole in Antarctica is slowly recovering. The next regulation is Clean Air Act CAA 1990, which is stated that national law designed to help to control air pollution, which is developed by EPA and applies to all organization producing airborne contaminant. When the people of the company fail to comply the Clean Air Act, they can be fined uh, by 50,000 and a year of jail. So the next is legality, which is stated that motor vehicle conditioning or MVAC equipment uses refrigerant to cool down the driver or passenger's compartment. Servicing of this system is regulated under Section 609 of Clean Air Act 1990. And the basic of EPA regulatory requirements are three requirements, which is the first is refrigerant, which is must be EPA approved and cannot be internationally released into the environment. Next requirement is when payment of any kind is involved, any person working on the MVAC system must be certified under Section 609 of CAA, and they must use approved refrigerant handling equipment. The last requirement is using refrigerant, which is must be properly recycled and reclaimed before it can be reused, or it will be affect the next use of refrigerant. So this is all from us, which is the talk about safety talk about refrigerant, and thank you.